Well, Tony, thanks for doing this. Probably for you, hard to believe that this is Major League Baseball season number 8.
Yeah.
Does 2016 with the Astros, does it feel like just yesterday? And how do you think you've changed over all these years?
Yeah, honestly, I think the years have flown by, but learned a lot about myself. And, I still remember getting called up to the big leagues and, being on that team with Altuve and George Springer and Jason Castro and Lance McCullers, Carlos Correa,
Okay, we're in Oakland. We don't need to hear all that. Okay, enough names.
Sorry.
But that's how you broke in, and it was
Yeah.
a special way to break in, and a year later, you were part of a World Series champion team.
Yeah, so learned a lot. I just feel like, this being my third team, you kind of realize that it's hard.
Yeah.
Especially, it's one thing to crack into the big leagues, it's another thing to stay. So obviously very fortunate to be here in Oakland, and I think we have a great group.
Growing up, you were a child of three, two
Yeah.
other siblings, and your brother Corey,
Yeah.
he actually got to professional baseball
Yeah.
for a brief time.
Yeah.
Brewers? Cubs?
Just Brewers.
Brewers, okay.
Yeah.
What was childhood like, and where did you fall age-wise?
Yeah, so I was the youngest, and my sister's 9 years older than me. My brother's 6 years older than me.
Okay.
And so, there's big age
There's
gap.
a gap there, yeah.
So
you had to keep up and catch up.
I
a
was
lot,
the
huh?
youngest, but you know what? I still credit my brother to this day. Corey was a tremendous help in who I became as a baseball player, just teaching me the games of basketball, baseball, football, and always wanted to be like your older brother, right? So I was always his shadow. And I still thank him to this day for teaching me the game. And he had me in the backyard. We were talking about this story a month or so ago. And just being able to just be out there and him just throw me the ball and understand that I wasn't a righty, so we figured that out. We figured that out early. He was yelling inside, "Dad, I don't think he's gonna make it in this game." And
this ain't it.
And then he was like, "Just try lefty." I don't know, because he was a righty, and so turned me over lefty, and I smashed the first ball that he threw me, and there we go.
Okay, in high school, you're on varsity football and baseball each for all 4 years, right?
Yeah.
So, I guess I'm asking this weirdly.
Yeah, no.
Why didn't you ever go roll with football? What
Yeah.
position did you play?
So I was a running back.
Okay.
Then I was a slot receiver. Then
Okay.
on defense, I was a cornerback.
Of course, you had to play.
Yeah,
go
I
both
was on
ways.
both
Okay,
sides,
all
and then
right.
I was a safety, kick return and punt return. So
A lot of running out
I was on
there.
the field. I was on the field a lot. I just feel like once I got into my junior, senior year, I knew I wasn't going to go to the NFL,
Okay.
or I kind of looked at what
You knew where your
I
chance
was sizing myself up, right?
Got it. Okay.
Knew I wasn't going to the NBA either.
Well,
But
hey, we're going to talk height later.
knew,
In a very complimentary way, we got to talk
no
height.
doubt. We can
Okay.
talk about whatever. So once I got my scholarship to Vanderbilt and signed, I wasn't going to go back my senior year and play. And talking with Coach Corbin, he said that he didn't want me to have any regrets, and he was going to still honor my scholarship even if I did get hurt. So
That's great.
let me still go out and play with the same friends that I played with when I was in 4th grade, the guys that I came up with in Pee Wee football, and it was a blessing. I had a great year. Our team wasn't that good, but it was all about just playing with the guys for one last time. And I did get one offer to go play at Memphis to play football and baseball, but I think that Vanderbilt was the way to go.
All right. Speaking of Vanderbilt, I pulled your bio here from the media guide, like the personal section where you got
Yeah.
to showcase a little bit
Here
here.
we
So
go.
I'm going to read this. You tell me what still applies here.
Okay.
Favorite athletes: Curtis Granderson. I mean, we're dating ourselves here a little bit.
That's okay.
And Ronaldinho.
Yeah.
So you're a soccer guy. We could touch on that.
Okay.
Your favorite movies were The Sandlot and Remember the Titans. Favorite TV shows were Lie to Me and 30 for 30 on ESPN. Favorite actors were Denzel and DiCaprio. I like those two. That's a good
All
one.
right.
You like steak, loaded potatoes, and carrots as a meal. You like Drake as a musician. Lucky Charms were your favorite late night snack. They're magic. They are magically delicious, I gotta tell you. And you like to sleep and play video games in your spare time. Are you any of those things still?
I would say I'm going to get back into video games more. It's hard when you have a kid.
Right.
Sleep is still one of my favorite things to do.
Even more so now,
Lucky Charms
probably.
is still my favorite cereal.
yeah.
Drake is still up there.
Yeah.
I'll have to say, Curtis Granderson.
You haven't changed a lot.
I haven't changed too much.
Okay.
I don't think so.
Now, I'd say you met your wife, Michelle, in college, but that's not true. I'd say you
Nice.
met her in high school, but I don't think that's true.
That's right.
Middle school?
Middle school.
That's
right.
That's a lot of twists and turns
Yeah.
for any two people in their life.
I know.
But eventually a husband and wife. You both go way back, huh?
Yeah, we go back. So we did date. I don't know if that's even a real thing when you're 13. But
Can't even drive a car yet.
Yeah. Your parents drive up to the movie theater.
You got dropped off.
So our first date was the Incredibles movie.
Wow.
Yeah, that's when the Incredibles.
You remember that? I mean, of course you remember that. But
the Incredibles.
Wow.
The Incredibles was in theaters. The first one. Yeah. So. Yeah.
You can peg the year exactly.
Exactly.
Isn't that amazing though? That relationships are hard as they are in the first place.
Right.
But the fact that you have both been through so much, I mean, different stages of your life together, probably speaks to how well connected you are.
Yeah, I think that we're very connected. We got to see each other grow up.
Yes.
And I feel like that's a big deal because I know her family in and out. She knows my family in and out. And, a lot of the times we don't need to even speak on a certain situation because we know how each other's going to feel. And, now raising, how it is, raising kids and understanding what it's like to be a parent. And, we've known each other since we were 12, 13 years old.
Yeah.
So now being 31 years old, we kind of, I don't want to say it's easier, but I want to say the path has been not as difficult as I would say if we met later on in life, just because we've known each other for such a long time.
It's just amazing. People change, people grow, they mature, and some grow apart, some grow differently. You're obviously a much different person than when you were 13, so
100%.
The fact that you are both different, but you're both still together,
100%.
Very special.
I agree.
You mentioned being a dad. I know it's still relatively new to you in your life.
Yeah.
Couple years you've been at that game along with Michelle. We talked about changing as a big leaguer. How about changing as a person after being a dad?
Yeah, so
It's big time.
I feel like you just see the world differently once you become a parent. And, having McKenna as my daughter, she's just, she just brights up my day every time I see her. And, parenting is challenging, especially when they want one thing and you're trying to teach them in a way that ask the right way.
Oh, I know.
Hey, so and especially she's only 14 months, so
right.
that's hard to kind of get her to understand that. But balancing, I feel like, especially all the things that I went through, especially in that first half last year, which was just such a rough first half, I was learning how to become a dad as well. And I feel like it took some time to understand what it took to have that time at home to be a dad, but also sacrifice that time of when I need to focus on the season. So once I was able to juggle that and then turn it into the second half and then understand how to juggle those things, I feel like I was much better off.
You make a lot of routine plays, not to diminish those. Hard work to make the routine plays.
Yeah.
But TK, you make some catches where I'm like, how did he leap that high? Or how did he get over there that far? What can you say about your ability to be on highlight reels? Probably more than most.
Yeah.
Does this just happen, or you just like in that situation, or are you doing something?
I think it's multiple things. Instincts, I would say, first off, but at the same time, trusting your ability. You just have to be able to trust yourself in certain instances. And my wife still yells at me about throwing my body around, but at the same time, there's still nothing like going out there and making a play that people just say, wow. And
I think that's what's on the broadcast usually is wow.
And and sometimes the dives aren't necessary as they are to slow my eyes down when I'm in the outfield or when I'm in the infield, because sometimes when you're running so fast, your eyes go up and down.
Right.
So sometimes if you make a leap, it kind of slows that moment down in time for a second for you to really track the ball that much better.
I also love you making the play, but then your reactions afterwards are usually genuine.
In Detroit, honestly, that's got to be probably number one.
Is that because you were in the moment? I don't want to say you surprised yourself, but maybe that is what it is.
I definitely surprised myself. It was a different positioning. The ball was kind of top spun a little bit, and when I made my leap, I didn't think that I had enough to get there. But as I stretched as much as I could, and when I did look it down and see the ball in there, that's when I gave the shocked look. Yeah.
Who's the most interesting teammate you've ever had? I don't necessarily mean your best friend, but somebody who you're like, that's an interesting person. Right?
Most interesting teammate I've ever had. Any team?
Sure.
Any team. I would probably have to say Nick Castellanos.
Okay. Just personality?
Yeah,
or?
I think that, obviously we're big leaguers, and you see, and a lot of guys see the game differently, and I feel like he just sees the game differently in a way of where I took a lot of his game and try to incorporate into mine, in the fact of not physicality-wise, but for example, one time I just shot him a text and said he was on fire, and I said, what are you thinking at the plate right now? And all he did,
trying to steal his mojo.
I like to just pick guys' brains whenever they're hot and just see if I can incorporate that in what
cool.
I'm feeling.
Yeah.
And he literally just sent me back a picture of Michael Jordan holding a bat in the locker room, smoking a cigar. And literally, I just texted him back and I said, I know exactly what you mean. So it's that interesting part that he takes to the game that he's like, listen, I don't care who's on the mound. This is who I am when I walk up to the plate. I'm Michael Jordan. So that was cool.
That's a future poster, I think, for you. We're gonna have to work on getting that done in Oakland.
Yeah, I'm down.
People gravitate to you. A lot of different reasons. They like the way you play. Smile on your face. Good interview, right? Good person. I'm gonna say it because I'm also vertically challenged. I think people relate to you because they're like, you know what? He's a little bit shorter than the rest, and he reminds me of me.
Yes.
Am I saying that okay to you?
You're saying that in.
Do you understand that?
You're saying that in the perfect way.
Okay.
I feel like sometimes when you're smaller in stature, people think that you are mad at the world. You get the little man syndrome, right?
Right.
I never wanted people to think that I was ever mad and hard around the edges. It's just not like that. And I feel like we have similar personalities, so I just wanted people to always feel comfortable around me and, always have a good time. I feel like this life is so short that it's just not even worth walking around here and acting like someone who you're not.
Yeah.
So I just always try to be me.
On the field of play, though, and in sports and competition, the bigger you are, the more attention you get.
100%.
I do feel like the smaller you are, size-wise, the more you have to prove it with your play.
Yeah.
You think that's accurate even at the professional level?
Yeah. I think the biggest thing that helped me is Coach Corbin in college said, you might be 5'6", 5'7", but you play like you're 6'5", 6'6". And him telling me that, I was able to realize that it's not even about the size, it's about the presence that you have on a field, the way that I know that I can change a game in a matter of an instant.
Right.
And once he told me that, it kind of gave me that confidence that, size didn't matter. But at the same time, I've always had that underdog chip to myself, right? And you get drafted, and I felt like getting drafted in the 5th round was a little late for how good my season was, and I think that obviously everything happens for a reason, but getting drafted in the 5th round after having such a great season, I feel like it just fueled the fire that much more. And I think it's cool to be, God made me in the way that I needed to be made, right? And so I feel like he did that so the kids who are out there who are smaller in stature as well can look up and say, hey, if he can do it, then so can I. And so just being able to be a voice to kids who are smaller in stature, and all the many times I've reached out to parents saying thank you for the way you play, and
absolutely,
how thank you for being so small, right? No, but it does, it's awesome. I think now it doesn't bother me as much now, but I think when I'm going up to the plate and actually hearing people, is he tall enough to play this game?
And come on.
I love that though.
Yeah. Oh, really?
I think that fuels the part of the game that I need, and say if I'm 0-2 at that point and I hear that in the stands, then maybe that's something that gets me going.
They dusted that chip off.
Yes,
They're like, oh, here's that chip again.
Right, so
you didn't want that chip, now you're gonna get it.
So that's why I like going on the road so much, because when you're in enemy territory, you're kind of getting that banter, and I enjoy that.
You listen a little bit, but you don't take it too far. I totally get it. Hey, you've got a couple rings. I've seen the trophy chest, but World Series ring already to your name. Granted, everybody always wants to win another one and more of them.
Right.
But also, I'm looking at your career and thinking, I don't know, maybe you're halfway done with your pro baseball career.
Yeah.
Do you have like a bucket list of what you want to be in the second half of it?
Yeah, I think the biggest thing that I've always done well, I feel like for myself, is just take a day at a time. And to look up and have 5+ years in the big leagues and going into the 8th season, is that what it is? 8th?
Yeah.
Yeah.
This is 8.
This is 8, yeah. And to be around and to realize, hey, like if I can play 5 more years and get to 10, that will be great. But
longevity's a good
longevity's great.
There,
I think the biggest thing I just want to take away from this game, one, is being a great teammate and being able to be there for the guys. And yes, World Series are great. I think for this team, I want to be able to at least get back to the playoffs. And, you know, obviously that's a long-term goal, and you don't want to have too many long-term goals, but you do want to compete to be the best that you can. You don't go out there in a losing mentality. And, you know, I think our team had a lot of fight in that second half last year, and I think it showed to the testament of what the guys were bringing to the field each day. So I would say just be a good teammate, and, you know, I want this team to realize that we're good enough to make a playoff run.
I'm going to throw out 2 stats at you here. Opening day last season, not this one, but last season, obviously, 7.2% of players on big league rosters are black. But also from last summer's draft, 4 of the 5 top picks of 2022 were black-born, United States-born players.
Yes.
So I do see still that we have a shortfall of black players in the game, and certainly even when I was growing up, much higher percentage. But I'm also encouraged that maybe, just maybe, we're trending in the right direction. How do you see that?
Yeah, I think it is. I think it's trending in the right direction from in the Players Alliance of what we're trying to do with the pull-up tour and giving equipment out to areas of black players who want to play the game, but they can't afford the equipment, or just growing the game in a way of, hey, he looks like me. I want to play just like him. I want to do what he does. And I think the game is growing in the right direction. I think that these young black players are understanding that this game can be for them too, and especially, you know, to bring up Vanderbilt again, to see how many black players that they have on their roster now, and shows the diversity that Tim Corbin's bringing into that clubhouse as well. So I think the game is growing. I hope that that percentage keeps going up, and I think that we just need to continue to grow the game in a way where everyone feels welcome in it.
And I mean, you've not been afraid to have these conversations. A big part of 2020 in that summer was you really coming out with the +1 effect. And you know what, look, at that time, this conversation was dramatically needed.
Yeah.
Do you feel like there's a next chapter, a next phase of it? We're always going to continue the conversation, I think. How do you see the evolution of kind of what you started?
Yeah, I think the +1 effect is still going on now, especially getting DMs about still race in America, racism that's going on, and discrimination. And I feel like that's what me and my wife are saying. Okay, what are the next steps in helping people understand what minorities are going through? And you know, that's the toughest part, is just having that conversation. So I feel like obviously everything happens for a reason. COVID happened. I had time to actually dive into the +1 effect. But also, I want for it to continue. It's tough because you just don't want it to be a hot topic. And you know, obviously things feel like it's dwindled down, but there's still so much in the world, and especially in the US, that need to be fixed.
It was really necessary.
It was necessary
at that time.
It was necessary.
Still necessary, maybe in a different capacity.
100%. I just feel like if people could understand a person like me that can put their neck out there and say, hey, I'm willing to have any conversation with you in a professional manner, and we're not going to get mad at each other. We're just kind of going to lay it out there is good.
You do a lot of good things, including planting many trees.
Woo! We've been planting trees, man.
Tell me about that. And you also got baseball to basically match. So you plant a certain amount based on stats that you have, but then baseball matches that. How did that all start? Why trees?
Yeah, I think I just obviously love giving back to the community, and I feel like what the Players for the Planet, what One True Planet was doing was awesome, because I was able to have my stats correlate with helping the world. And to be able to donate all those trees and to be able to have that tree planting organizational thing last year was awesome.
Yeah.
So to be able to do it right next to the stadium was great, and I'm working on something right now that are going to correlate with my walks, but it's going to be, I think I'm going to donate some money for each walk that I get to help with, it's called acureforblindness.org, and it actually, the people who are overseas who can't afford to get surgeries, we'll talk about it,
Yeah.
but it's just something that is going to be
That's your next
on the horizon.
focus.
Yeah, so I'm going to be kind of doing two things.
My good buddy Dave Stewart, colleague as well too, but friends first, won the Roberto Clemente Award.
Yes.
You've been a nominee now several times.
Yeah.
He virtually tears up when he talks about what it means to him. And every other award that he's got, great,
Right.
but this one
This is the
sits
best
higher.
one.
Yeah. What is it to you to just be in that conversation? I hope one day you get another nomination and you win it. Why is that one really special to you?
You know, it's because it's not even what you do on the field.
Yeah.
It's something that just kind of shows what kind of person you
Yeah.
are and how much you care about the community, how Clemente did, and
Yeah.
how he went about his business and how he wanted to grow the game as well. And yeah, that award means everything to me. To walk down to my man cave and to see those 3 nominations is
3. I'm sorry.
I
shortchanged you.
Is everything, yeah. So don't know how many Oakland A's players have been up for nominations, but to be in that conversation and that's why I got Clemente on my cleats this year. So just to be able to be in that same conversation with them is humbling, yeah.
It seems like you've been focused on this career forever. If it didn't work out, did you ever have a plan B?
I think, no, I honestly, I think.
Well, glad we're here.
Yeah, glad we're here talking now. No, I think, I think there's 2 answers to that. If you have a plan B when you're already working on plan A, then it looks like plan B is going to be happening sooner than
That's a good point.
it's going to be. So
Yep.
my plan A was just to be a professional baseball player and give that everything I had. But at the same token, I feel like once I got my Vanderbilt degree, that was my plan B.
Got it.
So ever since I got my degree back in 2014, I went back and finished. It was kind of, I'm playing with house money.
Yeah.
And I feel like I was set in saying I could do whatever I needed to do once I was done with baseball.
So you didn't have a plan B back then. Understand it now. Mm-hmm. How about a plan for after baseball playing career and days are over?
Yeah.
Do you want to even start thinking about that? I don't mean to force you into
It's okay.
this,
It's okay.
But do you? I mean, does it cross your mind?
Yeah,
Or-
I think I want to be involved in the game in some way. I don't know if that's going to be in coaching, in the front office,
Broadcasting.
in
Sorry.
broadcasting, whatever it may be.
Yeah.
I think that I've given a lot to this game, and I know that I have a lot to give. So
great.
maybe something that has to do with baseball in some capacity.
TK, it's been so fun to watch you now for a couple years, and I really thank you for doing this conversation.
Hopefully some more years.